Attorney Warner.
Yeah.
Wow, the change of seasons hit us like a ton of bricks last weekend, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We went from beautiful high 70s days with blue skies and golden leaves to shivering cold, cloudy, dreary snow in mid-October. I know a lot of you embrace this weather and turn toward the outdoor sports, recreation in the snow, but for me, I tend to want to go back inside and focus on ways that I can make my home a warm and inviting place for my family to be. One of the most consistent ways that I have done that over the years is through the making of homemade soup. Interestingly, and maybe surprisingly, I started this tradition on a hot summer day in Huber Heights, Ohio, a little over 27 years ago. The phone rang, it was on the wall. I picked it up, and a friend of mine on the other end said she would like to bring us a homemade meal. And the event was, or the prompting for her was the birth of our daughter that we just brought home from the hospital. So we were all excited to have a child, we were on cloud nine, we were so excited to be new parents. And then we had the bonus of people bringing us stuff. And our friend brought over a meal, and it kind of surprised me because it was chicken and wild rice soup on a hot summer day. But when I ate that soup, it just made me feel so wonderful. It was a different texture and flavor complexity than I'd ever had before. It was accompanied by her homemade bread. And it just made me feel righteous, and it made me feel nourished so I could breastfeed my baby. I immediately asked Jane, what is different about your soup? Can I please have the recipe? She said, I'll tell you, the secret is bone broth. What? Now, before this, my mom had taught me how to make soup. You take 4 cups of water, and then you get a little cube that you unwrap in foil, a little bouillon cube that's basically salt with the essence of chicken, and you put it together, and that is the base for your soup. But Jane taught me that the secret is to cook bones for a long time. Bones contain something called collagen. It comes out of the bones when you cook them a long time with water and salt. And it makes a heartier base for your soup. Ever since then, I've developed this system, and so today I'm going to share the ingredients, the process, and the storage and use of bone broth. Bone broth is kind of trendy right now. You can buy it in the refrigerator section at Costco for a carton for like $5. But it has been around for a long, long time. Ancient civilizations made this. And everyone from peasants to moguls ate it and cooked it. And I encourage you to try it. First, you need to select your ingredients. We traditionally use mostly chicken, beef, pork, or turkey bones. And I'll just share today that our source in our household for chicken is a very economical resource. We get rotisserie chicken. And we go to Costco. You can get a 3-pound bird for $5, and it's great. We bring it home, we have it for one meal, then we take the remaining chicken, cube it up, and reserve it for other purposes, well, like soup. Then we take the bones and the skin and the fat, we put it right back in that container it came in, we stick it in the freezer till we have a few of them, and we can make a batch of bone broth. So last weekend when it turned so cold, I get up on Saturday morning, I see Mike coming in from the garage with this great big soup pot that we have. It's a canner basically. And then he soon came back in from the garage with a stack of 8 of those chicken carcasses that had piled up over the summer. So he put the chicken bones in the pot, filled it up with water. Then rough chopped some onions. We usually use about 2 onions, a bunch of celery, a bunch of carrots. You can just kind of rough chop them. You don't have to peel the carrots. You're going to discard them when you strain the broth. Then you put it on the stove and bring it to a boil. Throw in a little salt. I usually just dump some in my hand and throw it in. We let ours come to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer and cook all day through the night. The next morning, you can take it off the heat and strain it. You strain it through a big colander. Sometimes we use like a cheesecloth to strain out the little bits. Throw away the bones and the vegetables and chill this wonderful bone broth. When it is cold, bone broth will be gelatinous. It won't be watery. It'll wiggle like Jell-O. And we take that chilled soup out of the refrigerator. All the fat has risen to the top. You can take off the fat and throw it away. Then you can divide it into your containers. The containers go into the freezer, and then they're available to use to make your next pot of soup. I encourage you to try it. It is a very rewarding, warm, nourishing way to make a quick meal. You can add all kinds of ingredients. Last weekend we went to a reunion of Mike's Reserve Squadron that he retired from in 2010. And one of the women that I hadn't seen for 8 years said, "I still make your beef and barley soup." And I thought, really? I don't remember ever making beef and barley soup. She said, "You were kind enough to write me an email explaining how to make the broth." And I still have that whole email printed in my recipe box.
Wow.
So I encourage you to try it.
Thank you.
She brings her soup.
We're a little bit in the corner.